Well, Tori, thank you so much for coming. This is a Friday Fun Synth Jam. This is a kind of special because we're here at Yamaha with Tori Letzler and a bunch of Refaces. It's bizarre, isn't it? We're at like the mother lode of Yamaha, and the Refaces are all that we can get in here. But bizarrely, they seem to be very immediate.
Yeah.
My first question was, I mean, you do a whole bunch of soundtrack work. What the hell were you thinking of the scene in your head when you were making that? What was I was getting some kind of dystopian, futuristic landscape with kind of smoke. And,
it went a little cyberpunk.
Yeah.
We got a little cyberpunk. I mean, I just started touching these yesterday, as you kind of saw. Like, these are very new to me, even though I do own and collect a lot of synths and I work with Yamaha. Like, I had not touched these before the past 2 days, any of them. So it's just like experimenting and figuring out, oh, okay, that does that, and this is how the looper works on this, and like, all right, now I got something going. Okay, well, where are we now? Like, what scene are we painting? Okay, well, if we bring this up, and yeah, it's just experimenting, but there's definitely a visual aspect of it in my head.
It's interesting because I did the same thing. I did one of these yesterday, and I made the CP the centerpiece as well, because it's really quite organic, isn't it? It feels, for a piano, it's really sound designy.
It functions really well as a lead, and I think the delay is really special on this, especially because you can kind of play still that lead line, but you can make it hold on with this delay and swap between the octaves and the different instruments. That's a really interesting quality to me.
And you rather bravely went for the FM, which many people shy away for.
Yeah.
It's slightly impenetrable, right?
You know, I feel like it's like dipping your toe into FM on what I did, because I took a preset, and then before I went into the looping stage, you can, go through the algorithm of the FN. So I changed the algorithm, and then I messed with the effects on that.
Right, okay.
So I used that preset as a starting point. Obviously, I wasn't building something from scratch there. But then being able to then seamlessly go out of the loop and go back into the original preset, mess with the effects again, kind of like in a very seamless way.
So you turn the loop off and then turn it back on again. Is that what you did?
No, I made a loop in the beginning, and I let that go for a while. And then toward the end, I turned the loop off, went back to the original sound that I had, and before I hit it, went to the effect, the echo that I had on there.
Right.
Hit it with the echo on, and then started changing it. I was letting that echo ring out.
So you're using the looper in the FM, and you use the CS, the looper in that as to provide the kind of drone.
This was my drone machine over here, and these loopers are very different, but.
They're actually, I mean, we have to, I think we could say this, we could be critical. They're really bloody hard to make a loop.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing with two hands. I mean, you want to use your nose or something. I mean, it's just not,
This one's a little tricky because of the touch buttons over here, but it is nice that you can see what you're doing versus this one, you kind of have to like slam that fader.
Yeah. And I did one yesterday. I was going to everybody, is this in time? Because I can't get it any better, and this is going to have to do. So
I have this set to 110, but these are not. I mean, I didn't like match. I was trying to match a tempo.
I think it's possible to sync them, but we didn't get that far. We just basically we got locked in a room with some refaces and saw what we could get out.
I wonder if I could sync it. I have a BeatStep Pro.
Maybe so, yeah. I'm sure it's possible. I don't know what the features are. It's funny, isn't it? Because we were also saying, I mean, these came like 4 or 5 years ago. And when they came out at a time when everybody was sort of hankering for the analog kind of revival. And in many ways, it felt like a disappointment. People were like, oh, well, it's got small keys and it's not analog. But they seem to be, everybody who's been here,
these have been the toys.
These have been the ones that everybody's going for. It's really interesting, isn't it, how immediate they are?
Well, for me, with something like this, it's the portability that I think is fun. Typically, I'm in a studio, so I don't really get to jam out in this kind of setting. But the fact that we can just chuck these on a table, sit them all together and mess around, I don't care so much about the keys. It's more of the inner workings of what it's doing.
So was that in any way a kind of insight into your creative process? Or was that?
You know what? Sort of. A lot of what I do is, looking at picture and messing around and seeing, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
So do you do that? Do you see the music as visually? Because a lot of musicians have that. I can't remember what the name of it is.
Synesthesia.
Synesthesia.
I do not have synesthesia. No. But for me, I mean, I work with picture a lot, so picture dictates music. But if I'm not working with picture, a lot of times I will just record a bunch of audio. Not necessarily with something like this, but if I had a Eurorack up, just kind of recording, and then go back and chop.
Take the sort of parts of performances and
exactly, yeah, and then organize it and use it kind of as my own personal sample pack later on.
Right, that seems to be a way a lot of people do it. Because, and then also you've got a justification for that kind of time black hole that Eurorack becomes, and you go, hey, wait, that deadline.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like in what I do, I'm most of the time I'm not working on an album, so there's not this unlimited amount of time. We're dictated by a TV schedule or episode, things like that. So it depends. Like I tend to mess with my synths in between projects when there's a little more downtime. Yeah. Like, oh, I know I'm going into this thing that's going to maybe require this sound. Let me get a bunch of stuff kind of working and going. And then as I get further on...
So you build a palette as the project's coming out. That seems like quite a smart... Because, I mean, I know a lot of composers who spend all their time, collecting synths and then can't actually use them on any of their projects.
It happens sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I just got a CS20 that I haven't really been able to use that much because nothing's required that sound. It's a very specific sound.
Yeah.
But, I mean... It is nice to have them, and they're very tactile, and I like that.
Well, Tori, where's the best place people could check out your stuff, your kind of latest creative output?
Sure, yeah. I'm on social media. It's just Tori Letzler on Instagram is kind of where I post the majority of my stuff.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.